Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back, dear attendees. I hope you have enjoyed the first two sessions related or given by Prof. Stuart Russell and Prof. Monir Roux. And now we welcome a very special guest, our third speaker of today, who is Prof. Hamid Bouchikhi. So let me just give you a brief overview about his biography. Professor Hamid Bouchikhi is the head of the management department at ESSEC Business School. His area of expertise and research include managerial innovation, entrepreneurship, and many others. In 2021, Thinkers 50 named him among the 30 most influential management thinkers. And he experienced many international institutions around the world as a professor in Pennsylvania, Tokyo, Kuala Lumpur, and many others. He also served as the Dean of Salt Bridge International School of Business in South Korea. And I think the list is so long, I would just conclude that he was appointed by His Majesty, King Mohammed VI, as a member of la Commission nationale du nouveau modèle de développement et aussi le Conseil supérieur de l'éducation, de la formation et la recherche scientifique. We are very honored, Professor Hamid Bouchikhi, to have you among us. And without any further ado, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sir Mohammed, and Assalamu alaikum. And thank you very much for the generous introduction. I don't deserve 10% of everything you said, but thank you very much. First off, let me thank and warmly congratulate MoroccoAI and the organizing team for taking the initiative to put AI on the Moroccan radar and for bringing together an impressive lineup of speakers who I'm not part of, obviously. This is, for me, I approach this topic of AI with a lot of humility. I'm like a student discovering a new planet and trying to make sense of what I see. And the talk I'm giving today, if I have to give it in another 2 or 3 months, I'm almost sure it will be a very different talk because AI is so fast moving. It's a fast moving object, and we have to run after it and try to make sense of it. So let me share with you my screen, if I may, and then I start the talk. I titled my talk AI, the Administration of Things and the Government of People. And you will hopefully understand later why I have to draw on this distinction that some very, very famous, very big names, very big minds made back in the 19th century. And the subtitle is Framework for the Employment of AI Agents in Organizations. I have to check if I put my slides in full screen.
Yes, now it's good.
So is this moving?
Yes, exactly.
All right. Yes. So as I was thinking about this talk and preparing for the talk, I looked at, of course, at the title or the main theme of the conference, Reshaping Work in the Era of AI. And of course, this title to me evokes or makes me think and realize we are realizing in the field of management, we are realizing that we have a new type of worker in organizations currently, and these are AI agents, and endowed with the capabilities of detection, analysis, conclusions and decision making. And these new workers, we need to figure out how to employ them and how to make them co-work with humans. So as an organizational scholar and as a management consultant, really the question for me is what you see at the bottom of the slide. The question is where and how to employ these AI agents in these three modes. These three modes are not from me. This is now this is emerging as a kind of standard or shared typology. Humans out of the loop, which means that AI agents are empowered to run and make decisions on their own without any human intervention. Humans on the loop, you may be more familiar with this typology than I am, maybe, but I'm just repeating this and explaining this very briefly. Humans on the loop, it means that AI agents are fairly autonomous, but they are coached by humans, they are fed with data by humans, they are given feedback by humans, and there may even be checkpoints where humans have to be involved. Humans in the loop is what other people would call AI agents as co-pilots. This is a situation where the AI agents basically are in a support role and interacting with humans, but the analysis, sense-making analysis and decisions basically belongs to humans, and AI agents are in support mode, as I said. So these are the three types of employments. Other people might come up with different typologies, but this one, I find it useful, and it helps me answer, today at least, answer this question about how and where to employ AI agents. So you will have the answer to the question if you stick around and if you bear with me. I promise you, before the end of the talk, I will have an answer to the question. Right? So I'm trying to move my presentation. Okay, I have to use the mouse. Let me say a few words about the kinds of organizations that I'm looking at and that I find interesting, stimulating in the context of the question that I just shared with you. Here's an example of Absolut Radio. This is a German radio. It's a German radio station which is fully operated by AI. Fully operated by AI. No human intervention whatsoever. And as an organizational student, this kind of organization, I'm intrigued by this kind of organization. What does organizational design mean when the organization basically is a fully AI-powered system? Then maybe a little more extreme cases. I don't know whether these cases, whether they are real or just for communication and buzz making. But these are two, on this slide, you have two companies that basically have appointed AI as CEO, right? Showmetech is Chinese. It's a subsidiary of a large Chinese conglomerate. They say this is, and this subsidiary makes video games, right? So they say now they basically entrusted an AI with the CEO role. I mean, you can imagine that there are a number of legal requirements which would make it impossible to have an AI fully playing the CEO role, but that's a minor thing. There's another company, this IndigoVX. where basically the founder, a tech entrepreneur, decided that the AI bot IndigoVX knows better how to run the company, and now the company supposedly is run by this AI. I say these are extreme situations which I take with some caution, because CEO has also a number of legal dimensions and also human interactions and so on and so forth. But the very fact that some people out there, and these are not minor people, these are entrepreneurs. These are people who know something about what they do, and they know something about AI. The very fact that we are coming to think that AI agents can play senior management roles, including CEO, that in itself is, for me, I feel like, as we say in French, interpellé. I'm intrigued, and it really forces us to think about or rethink what we mean by organizations and what we mean about by organization design. The fact of the matter is that we have seen the emergence and development along the years of this new organization forms, where basically these are all platforms, right? Facebook, Netflix, Get Around. These are all platforms where there's very little, if any, human intervention. You know Facebook, you know Netflix. Get Around, I would like to say a few words about Get Around. Get Around is basically is a Silicon Valley company. Now they're expanding out of the Silicon Valley and even making acquisitions in Europe. But Get Around is a platform where you can rent a car for 1 hour, for 2 hours, for a day or more. And the car that you are renting, it belongs to someone. So you have your car, it's idle. Instead of keeping it idle in your parking lot, you put it on the Get Around platform. So car owners register their car, renters, they register, they authenticate themselves. You provide your driver license online and so on and so forth. And you make bookings, you pay if you are a customer, you are paid if you are the owner, and everything goes online without any human intervention. And this is really the kind of organization that makes us organizational scholars and consultants scratch our heads and wonder how we design these organizations and how we organize work processes where the workers are no longer human, but the workers, or most of the workers, or part of the workers, are not humans, are AI agents. In the 60s, I have to check my reference. Yeah, in 69, Herbert Simon, that many of you know or heard about or read his works, he's one of the pioneers of artificial intelligence. And in 69, Simon thought that, top management decisions will still mostly be handled traditionally, that is by experienced executives' exercise of judgment. I'm just reading the second part of the code. So back in the 60s, Simon thought, okay, AI, operations research and AI will be basically limited to fairly structured decisions, but complex problems, complex decisions, and so on and so forth will basically continue to be the province, the monopoly of humans and experienced executives who are supposed to be better able to exercise judgment. I'm not sure that Simon would write the same thing in 23. Actually, I'm sure of the contrary. I'm sure that if Simon had lived, he would have seen that the all sorts of developments that I'm not going to address here, software, computer power, algorithms, and so on and so forth, have made breakthroughs that now allow AI to exercise some kind of judgment. You are all in the field, and I'm not going to tell you anything new about generative AI, or maybe AGI, artificial general intelligence, which seemingly is probably around the corner in 24 or 25. So I'm bringing this to organizational design, and what the examples that I just shared with you, what they tell us basically that we need a paradigm shift in our field being organizational design. This is what I mean when I say our field. That's because that's where I am. And here I'm sharing with you this quote from a senior HR manager who says, as you can read with me, as the sun sets on traditional organizational structures, a new dawn heralds the age of the AI-driven organizational design. This seismic shift, as he says, will redefine not only the processes we use, but also the principles we adhere to when crafting our organizational structures. So we in organizational design, we people in organizational design, we feel that we have to change the paradigm. And what is this new paradigm? I'm just putting this here on the screen, these elements of the new, what I call the new organizational design paradigm. So in the current paradigm, we start from the assumption that work is done by humans. In this emerging paradigm, we will start from the default assumption that work will be done by machines, and we only employ humans where machines cannot go. You see, the starting point is not the same. In the old or traditional paradigm, we start with humans and we support them with technology. In the new paradigm, we start with machines, call them AI agents, and we may or may not have some humans involved. I'm not going to read everything here. The purpose of design is the design of human organizations in the current paradigm. In the new paradigm, we will be designing systems of systems. The scientific background for the two paradigms is going to be very different. In the current or traditional paradigm, the scientific background for organizational design is the behavioral sciences. The behavioral sciences, because we are designing organizations for humans. We have to understand humans, human behavior. Therefore, the leaning or the drawing on behavioral sciences. The paradigm, the scientific foundations or or background for the new paradigm is going to be cybernetics, la cybernétique, cybernetics. Alfred Weiner wrote the seminal book about cybernetics in 1948, if my memory is correct. And you can find in that book almost all the conceptual foundations of what I mean by this new paradigm. In the traditional paradigm, we improve performance through automation. They say, okay, well, there are areas where human beings cannot do this or that alone, and we need to support them. So, and the way to support them and to make them more effective is through automation. In the new paradigm, where automation is the default, we improve the performance or the empathy or whatever it is through humanization. So we introduce the human dimension to make that automatic system or automated system more effective. Whereas in the traditional paradigm, we make organizations more effective through automation. You may feel like I am overshooting here, but I'm truly convinced that we are moving. There are a lot of indications, a lot of evidence that we are moving in the direction of the new paradigm. The examples that I shared with you, the AI-powered radio channel, Netflix, Facebook, GetAround, TikTok, and you name them all, they are basically these forms, this new organization form is today growing very fast, and it's basically permeating almost every sector. You find it in education, in healthcare, whatever. I mean, there's no banking, there's no sector that would be said to be or thought to be immune from the development of this or the implementation of this new organizational form. So this is the basically my view of the of where we are going, and I have to go back to the three modes of AI employment within this new organizational form that I have just described along those dimensions. So again, humans out of the loop, on the loop, in the loop, and how we employ AI agents in one or the other of these three regimes. And this is where I have to go to this administration of things versus the government of people. In the 18th century, Engels, the Karl Marx companion, he believed and he wrote that when the revolution of the proletariat is accomplished, state interference in social relations becomes in one domain after another superfluous and then dies out of itself. The state dies. Why does the state die? The state dies because it is an instrument of class domination. So in a classless society where everybody is equal, there's no need to govern people, and we only have to take care of the administration of things. There's no government of people, right? Auguste Comte, who came to this distinction from a different lens, Auguste Comte believed that that human history moves toward more and more toward the accumulation of positive knowledge. His name is associated with positivism, and as science progresses, as scientific knowledge develops, we will need or we will be able to replace the government of persons with the administration of things. Why replace the government of persons? We replace the government of persons because the government of persons is supposed to be arbitrary, to be subjective, to depend on who does what, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of arbitrary judgment in the government of persons, and in a society which is fully scientific, there's no room anymore for that arbitrary judgment, and basically running a society comes down to the administration of things. At this stage, you may be wondering why he's telling us about this. Is there any relevance to AI and organizational design? And if you are asking that question, or if you have that question over your head, that's legitimate. So let me just show you that this distinction actually, you have this distinction is basically also operating, even organizing the conversation about AI. If you bring this to the global AI conversation today, well, you have the techno-pessimists who are telling us, and some of them are very prominent figures, very prominent computer scientists and thinkers and activists and so on and so forth. So the techno-pessimists, they fear that the employment of AI agents will turn human beings into abstract things. Some people use the phrase thingification of people. In French, it would be chosification des gens, and will replace human judgment with algorithmic government of people. So you see, this administration of things versus government of people, it has also, it resonates. It has some, it has some meaning also within the context of the AI conversation. But the techno-optimists, they tell us, no. The AI actually will relieve humans from the administration of things. It will take care of the administration of things. We automate the administration of things so that people, leaders, politicians, managers, whatever, they can better do the job of governing people. They will have more free time. Leaders will have more time free to interact with their people, with their teams, and help their teams grow, and so on and so forth. So you have these two threads in the AI conversation currently. And again, on both camps, you have very prominent, very trustworthy, very knowledgeable people. And I belong to a third category, which is the techno-realist. I call this category of people who say, yeah, well, okay, there's going to be the development and implementation of AI in organizations. Well, it will affect humans in both ways, and we need guidelines. If it can affect us in both ways, we need some guidelines in the implementation to make sure that we harvest or we leverage the positives, and we minimize or we eliminate the negatives. And this is where I see this distinction of administration of things and the government of people as useful to answer the question that I raised upfront, that I shared upfront with you, which is where and how to employ AI agents. Let me just say, before I move to my answer, or at least my preliminary answer, let me just emphasize or just remind us that the distinction between the administration of things and government of people is not so, the line between the two is not so sharp. There are activities which may belong to the administration of things, which have consequences for human behavior. A traffic light management system in a big city, well, it belongs to the administration of things, but it has impact on the behavior of drivers. Government of people, the decisions regarding people have also implications on the organization of this or that kind, this or that activity, or the allocation of, or the management of these or that assets, and so on and so forth. So there's overlap. There's overlap between the two. And if there's overlap between the two, it means that what you do in one area would have externalities, positive or negative, in the other area. So just keep in mind this idea of overlap. And when there's overlap, there are externalities. Based on this, I come to the to my tentative preliminary answer to the initial question, and I submit to you that we start from this administration of things and government of people on the left-hand side of this table. And what you see here is that there are some areas where the administration of things has no externalities whatsoever on people. There, you can afford to implement autonomous AI agents where humans are out of the loop. Let me just suggest that managing a complex electrical power system would belong to this. I mean, the AI would take care of optimizing the network, making sure that there's no stoppage, whatever, that the power will be available to everyone. This kind of AI or AI that's AI systems which deal or produce weather forecasts, whatever. So there are a number of AI agents and applications that have no externalities on people. So there you can afford to go full autonomous AI, provided, full autonomous AI, once it's trained properly and you can trust it, right? I'm not talking about the process of teaching the AI and improving the AI. I'm supposing here that the AI is now fully trained and can operate autonomously. Now, when there are positive externalities on people, right? Remember the overlaps. When the implementation of AI can have positive externalities on people, well, you can still go with autonomous AI. Why? That's because there's no harm. There are externalities on people, but there can be no harm. I go back to the managing a complex network of traffic lights in a big mega city. There are externalities on people. At some point, people will have to stop and go. That's what traffic light system does. But there's no harm. There's no harm, and it's even beneficial to people, right? It's beneficial to people because otherwise people would run into each other, will crash into each other, and they would die. There would be injuries, and so on and so forth. When there are potential negative externalities on people, there you have to monitor the AI. This is what it's humans. It's not human. That's French. That's humans on the loop. What I mean by humans on the loop, you keep the AI under check. You keep it under check because if let's say this is an AI that deals with recruitment, and an AI which processes hundreds or thousands of applications. Though the decisions made by the AI may have negative externalities on some groups of people, on some minorities or genders or whoever. So there, upfront, a priori, that AI can have some negative externalities, can make negative decisions about the people. It's the same thing if the AI is, you use it in banking, to process loan requests or whatever. So that kind of AI can make negative or adversarial decisions about people. Then you have to monitor that AI so that you can give it feedback, you can correct it, you can teach it to improve its fairness, and so on and so forth. But still, it can handle that big amount of data by itself and make decisions, make automated decisions. But you have to keep it in check. And finally, government of people. When we are really talking about people and making decisions and judgments that are about people, I submit, and I maybe I may sound too restrictive, and I would be happy to relax this restriction if I'm assured that AI can also be entrusted with the government of people, and the AI can become a CEO. When I am confident about this, I might relax what I say here. But for now, I submit to you, when it comes to governing people, I'll translate in management. When it comes about managing people, AI, I see it as co-pilot, as in a co-pilot role, as a support, a decision support system. It helps you evaluate the performance of people, for example, or whatever. But that analysis and decision making, at the end of the day, belongs to humans. So that's my answer. And again, I say it's my preliminary answer to the question of how and where to employ this new breed, this new species of workers. And I answer that question building on the administration of things and the government of people. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Bouchikhi. If you allow me just to ask you stop sharing your screen before
Sure.
moving to the questions. Thank you so much, Professor Bouchikhi. It was really an insightful journey through different, I would say, experts and thinkers that you have talked about during your talk, going from Herbert Simon, Norbert Wiener, Karl Marx, Auguste Comte, to add the sociological approach. That was really insightful. And I think there are many questions, but maybe let's get started with the first one related to the future of jobs. And you have talked about different perspectives, like the techno-pessimist, the techno-optimist, and the last one that is more pragmatic and realistic. What do you think? Are you more pessimistic or optimistic regarding the future of jobs? And what will the future of jobs look like, Professor Bouchikhi?
If I could answer the question, I would charge a lot for it. No. I mean, there's a conversation. There's a conversation about this, right? And there are different opinions, as you rightly mentioned. What I would like to say for sure, what I can say for sure, is that people who are telling us, "Don't worry, be happy, don't worry, AI is not going to take or replace humans." When you hear that, be careful, because AI, the implementation, it's not AI. The implementation by human beings of AI in other human organizations is already displacing jobs. I mean, you read from time to time in the news that this or that company, basically in the news, for example, this news organization that laid off 200 journalists and replaced them with bots, right? These are anecdotal examples for now, but they show us that some jobs are at the risk of being basically substituted by AI. So there will be losers. There's no way around it. There will be losers, and there will be winners, right? And because I'm not an economist, I'm not a macroeconomist, I cannot tell you today if the net balance in 5 or 10 years will be toward more gains or more losses for humans, right? But there will be winners and losers. You mentioned, I mentioned, and you also mentioned Norbert Wiener. In 1948, in that book, there's a sentence there. I'm going to paraphrase him. He wrote that if you are doing a slave job, then it would be, I paraphrase him. I'm sorry, I don't have the right quote. If you do a slave job, then don't be surprised that your job will be replaced by a machine. And a lot of people currently who do slave job, right? This conversation, we're having this conversation within a Moroccan context. It's international, but Moroccan context. I just want our fellow Moroccans, many of them, many Moroccan workers are doing quote unquote slave jobs, right? I'm telling them, guys, you have to be careful. The tide is there. Be sure to train, retrain, and be sure not to be on the losing side. If you look at, I have some data that I couldn't share today for the lack of time, but there's data also that shows that there's a deficit of, well, you know this more than I do, deficit of basically people, experts in data analytics, AI, let's say IT implementation in the broad sense. Everybody is competing for a very small pool of talent, right? So there are winners and there are losers. And again, I would like to believe, but this is just a subjective statement here. I would like to believe that we human beings, we are an adaptive species. We will find a new equilibrium. The only question is, what is the cost of getting to that new equilibrium? What's the social cost of getting there? In the transition, there may be some casualties in the transition, but we will find a new equilibrium.
That's really great, this deep analysis of the topic. And regarding the future of jobs, maybe to get prepared for these jobs, we can ask, for example, what types of tasks and skills are being automated, and how can we upskill and reskill people to adapt maybe to these new changes. The challenge for any moderator with you, Professor Bouchikhi, that you play different roles, and sometimes we are asking you a question from your academia perspective, and now maybe from being a member of the High Council of Education. This is why we ask you a question about the skills and how can we prepare the future generation to these new jobs maybe that would appear and others that will disappear. What do you think, Professor?
Well, the short answer is that we all have to learn this new language. AI is bringing a new way of framing things, of doing things. So I would like, in an ideal world, I would like Morocco to follow the example of Korea, where I spent some time. In Korea, the government decided to introduce AI in high school curriculum. It's required. It's required. The least you can do is to learn proper prompt engineering. This is I mean, I'm challenged. I'm a user of ChatGPT-4, and I'm subscribed user, and so on and so on. And I realized that the difficulty of chatting, so to speak, with ChatGPT in a language that makes it that enables it to produce relevant results for me. It's a new language. So I think that we all have to internalize that language, and be comfortable also co-working with machines. Co-working with machines, managing machines, reporting to machines. The number of people today who are managed by machines. I mean, Uber drivers, I can't remember how many there are, in the hundreds of thousands, right? There are 4 or 5 million people drive for Uber, and these people are managed by algorithms, right? So we have to, I think we just have to accept that these new workers / managers, artificial intelligence, they are here to stay, and we have to learn how to interact with them, how to leverage them, how to manage them, and so on. We can't turn our back. I see in the educational field, because you asked me also as a member of the Conseil supérieur d'éducation, I see some people tempted to say, block AI, keep it out of the door. Right? Keep it out of the door. That's not. I mean, even if you wish for it, it's not possible, because it is here, and it is here to stay. So we have to live with it, and we have to, come up with new ways of doing what we do, whether we are educators, whether we are doctors, whether we are lawyers, whether we are drivers, or whether we are mayors managing cities. We have to, very much the same way that we learn to use computers and interact with computers. This very same way that we had to learn to use the internet. I mean, I was born before the internet age. I saw the internet coming. The internet has changed dramatically the way we work, and we don't even realize. But I realize, because I worked before. I started working before the internet, so I see exactly how it has changed. So it's a new equilibrium, but we have to learn.
Mm.
We have to learn, and we have to push in Morocco. If you are doing some advocacy, I would really advocate a strong emphasis on AI in the high school curriculum, even before higher education, before the university, because not everyone goes to university.
What a great analysis. In fact, we have to adapt, as you said, as a humans with the machines. And if we take a very particular kind of jobs regarding the management, and since you are since you are the head of management department, if you can just share with us your experience, because there is a challenge about the future of management and leadership itself. Actually, leaders and managers are struggling how to govern, how to manage their teams, how to be more productive, and there are many tasks that they can give, for example, to machines and others to humans. So what are your perspectives regarding the future of the management itself?
Well, management is, as I said, management itself is challenged because now with generative AI and maybe tomorrow with AGI, a lot of managerial work or what is currently defined as managerial work will be carried out by machines, right? So we have to prepare for that. What we have to do and what we are trying to do in business schools, we have been emphasizing before AI, putting more emphasis on data science, because we believe that managing in the 21st century, you have to have that data science background and literacy. And now AI, we are putting or integrating AI, as much AI in the curriculum. We want our future managers to be fully fluent in this new language, so that when they are designing organizations, they know how much. They don't need to be computer scientists, right? But they need to know what they can expect from machines versus humans, and how to optimize a value chain. You have to optimize a value chain with the right mix of machines and human agents, right? And how to coordinate those value chains. That's really important. So on the one side, this is what we need to do. This is, call it maybe hard skills.
Mm-hmm.
And we also need to put more emphasis on the soft skills. Because in many environments, the time-consuming work will be carried out primarily by machines, and you, the manager, will need to be there to make sense of things. Managers have sense-making, very important sense-making role, sense-giving, leading, motivating, incentivizing, and so on and so forth. So it's the role of managers. This is not new. This is not related to AI, but AI is accelerating a trend toward making managing more akin to coaching than the traditional administration, the traditional manager as administrator thing, right? So the more technology can do, the more humans can do in terms of coaching their people instead of managing them.
That's really interesting. So we have maybe a last question. Maybe we will just send it to you by email, because we have to conclude. It was related to the context, the specific context of Morocco and Africa in general, to tackle this issue of future work and how governments can address workforce transitions. So maybe Professor Bouchikhi, final words to MoroccoAI, Et si vous pouvez juste le dire en français, un dernier mot pour notre communauté, si vous le permettez.
Encore merci. Je suis vraiment impressionné, je vous l'ai dit en privé, je le dis en public, je suis impressionné par d'abord par l'existence du réseau MoroccoAI et par vos activités. Je suis très heureux de voir que vous rassemblez aussi des compétences. Vous faites les Marocains du monde. Vous n'êtes pas un ministère, mais vous faites un travail de fédération des Marocains du monde, hein, un peu partout. Je vois parmi vos participants. Et je trouve que aujourd'hui, l'intelligence artificielle, elle n'est pas vraiment encore centrale sur le radar de nos dirigeants, mais pas seulement public, pas seulement gouvernement. Je parle de dirigeants économiques aussi. Et donc, vous avez un rôle un peu d'advocacy, comme on dit, de plaidoyer. Vous avez un rôle de plaidoyer important à faire et plus vous serez concret, plus vous montrerez des choses qui marchent, etc., plus on vous écoutera et on vous croira. Mais il y a un gap culturel quand même. Vous le sentez peut-être mieux que moi, vous êtes sur le terrain, mais il y a encore un déficit culturel sur ce sujet-là dans le pays et beaucoup d'idées préconçues, beaucoup de fantasmes. Si vous pouvez permettre à nos dirigeants marocains d'être un peu plus intelligents à propos de l'intelligence artificielle, vous aurez fait beaucoup pour le pays.
Merci, merci infiniment, cher professeur Bouchikhi, pour ce mot de fin. Et nous étions vraiment très honorés par votre présence et on vous remercie au nom de tout le comité d'organisation d'avoir accepté notre invitation. Nous sommes très touchés par votre modestie, par votre expérience, par vos réponses aux questions que nous essayons tous de comprendre pour avancer vers le meilleur. Voilà.
Merci beaucoup, à votre disposition pour aider de quelque manière possible. Voilà. Et
Merci
bonne
beaucoup pour,
continuation.
merci beaucoup pour votre support. Voilà,
Merci.
chère communauté MoroccoAI. Donc voilà, c'est la
Au
fin.
revoir.
Et au revoir et rendez-vous à 14 heures avec le next speaker. Bye
Merci
bye.
beaucoup. Merci, au revoir.
Donc on retourne aux coulisses.